Welcome to the Seattle Investors Club podcast with Julie Clark and Joe Bauer, where we share the nuts and bolts of real estate investing from our 20-plus years in the industry. Sit back, relax, listen, and immediately take action. Are you ready? Here we go.
Welcome to the Seattle Investors Club podcast, where we talk about the nuts and bolts of real estate investing. My name is Joe Bauer, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Clark. Julie, how are you doing today?
Hey, everybody. What up? I'm good.
Yeah. You're good.
I'm good, but I am a slight bit tired. I've just eaten some couple Oreos. Sorry, Joe, to give me a boost. They are from Trader Joe's. I don't know if that makes them healthier or not, but we had kind of something weird last night. I don't know if you guys are aware of, there's a show out there called Stranger Things. It's very, very popular. I think season 3 is getting ready to start. I'm a little late to the party. My kids watch it, which I probably shouldn't let them, but they have a mind of their own, so they do. And we just decided, we started watching it together in the last couple weeks, as kind of a little evening bonding thing. And I love it. And now I'm addicted to the show. And it's kind of like set in the 80s. I won't go into all the details. Some of you may or may not know about this show, but it is kind of freaky, kind of like, the regular world. And then we'll call it I don't know if they call it the underneath world, some like a mirrored world, but the mirrored world is scary with monsters that eat people and all this stuff. And it has like this Dungeons and Dragons kind of underlying theme to it with these kind of teenager little boys. I love it because it's set in the 80s. I grew up in the 80s, so there's some funny stuff on that. But we were watching it last night, wrapping up season 1, and it's kind of spooky, and you always feel like, oh, when you're done. Well, we go to bed last night over here in northwest Seattle, so we'll call it on the western northwest side of the Ballard neighborhood. Out here is where I'm at. And 4 o'clock in the morning, one of my daughters comes up and says, Mom, what's that noise? What's going on? So long story short, the power went out because our smoke alarms gave some beeps. Some stuff started beeping in the house a little bit. So I got up to see what was going on, and the dang power had went out, which is weird because we have underground power at my house. And it was pin drop silent with absolutely no wind. I was afraid to open the door because we have an alarm, a big, huge alarm. And I thought, oh my God, well, what if I open it and goes off? I can't turn it off. So I'm half asleep at the time. It was super freaky. But the power went back on. I guess all of Blue Ridge and North Beach and part of Greenwood and all lost power for some reason last night. So we're a little tired. And we're a little spooked out that the Demagoguin or whatever is actually coming after us, or that some Russian spies have dropped some sort of, I've been watching the news lately. Maybe, somebody said to one of the girls said to me, maybe Donald Trump gave Seattle to Russia. That's oh, man. So
Holy smokes. Anyways,
we're over here popping a little sweets to keep our energy up today. Again, Joe, I know it's against the rules. I'm sure you have a natural remedy for that, but that's what we do over here in the Clark household. So that's where I'm at. I'm a little tired, but I'm excited about this topic because today we're going to do a little check-in, right? The market, what are we at? Where are we at now? It's July 19th today when we're recording this podcast on the nuts and bolts of real estate investing. We're jumped straight into, I call it our first true month of summer here. But we are experiencing here in the Seattle market, and I think other markets are also experiencing some of this, a absolute undeniable shift. Now, is it still a seller's market? I think it, at this very moment, is still a seller's market. You can still, prices are still being held where they're at, but we've definitely had a shift. And today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk, the theme today, or the topic today, is the market has adjusted, and how do I adjust with it? as an investor? What do you think? Joe, you don't know. You're out there in, like, where are you at today?
I'm looking at the market here in South Lake Tahoe, and it looks like it's flourishing.
South Lake Tahoe. I am wishing I was there with you right now. What an awesome spot. I think most of you guys who listen to us know that Joe is on a year-long adventure, or longer, who knows, in his van with his girlfriend, Emily, and they are hitting all the national parks, and you can follow their epic, and I do mean epic, adventure at the Fantastic Life on all your social media accounts and everywhere else on the planet. Is that right? Do I got that right, Joe?
You got it right, and it's been a fun ride so far. This last week I've had a little bit of complications because I decided to go to the Apple store to get my screen on my computer replaced up in Reno. So I'm like, hey, there's a Reno Apple store. And it turns out that they needed it. It's a quick replacement, but they didn't have the part. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to be anywhere near another Apple store for who knows how long. So take it. And they said 3 to 4 days, and it ends up being that it's going to be a week. So without a computer is fine. I have an iPad and all that other stuff, but you don't realize how when you get out of your routines, it throws off a lot of stuff.
So they don't have like a Apple vending machine up anywhere and the world is weird today, right? I mean, God, that'd be, wouldn't surprise me if you got some pop-up shop in the parking lot of some national park because they know everybody's freaking out about their electronics. So who knows?
That would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Another business model for you guys if the real estate market goes south. Actually, if the real estate market goes south, that might be good for all of us, right? Because it's actually been hard to get deals in this crazy market. So, a shift in the real estate market, whether it's happening or it's just a little adjustment or whatever, doesn't necessarily need to matter to all of us because hopefully we're all sticking together and smart enough to decide that we just pivot along with it, right?
Totally.
And so no alarm, no concerns about any market adjustments. Let's just talk about, hey, what are some things that we maybe should start thinking about if this is, something that's actually happening. My gut tells me it is, and I think if you listen to economists and market prediction people out there, we've been due for a while for an adjustment. I don't think there's like a doomsday thing out there by any means, but so that's not what this is about today. But it's like, hey, the shift that has happened does require us as investors and agent investors. If you're both a real estate agent and an investor like myself, you got to keep on top of all that stuff, right?
Yep.
And today we're going to talk about it. So let's jump in and do that. Do we have any technical stuff? We normally release a podcast on Fridays. That would be July 20th. I guess we'd be past that by the time people listen. So I'm just talking to Joe like you guys aren't even. Right on.
Well, nobody will know that we're having technical difficulties right now, Julie. It's going to be a thing of the past.
Right on. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast that came out around July 20th because we don't know when that's coming or not. But all right, let's do it. So like I said, we're going to talk about the fact that the market has adjusted and how do we as investors adjust with that. So what I'll say in a nutshell, this is just my opinion. I'm just one of you guys going through the same concerns, watching the same stuff, as you guys. So this is just my opinion, and I have a microphone, so I'm going to tell it to you. You guys, there's a lot of meetups and podcasts and, all this and that, where we should all be listening to as much information as we can gather, especially as things are pivoting and changing. So today, like I said, is July 19th, and what I say today goes for today, and we'll see what happens after that. But feel free to check in with us as much as you want at SeattleInvestorsClub.com. If you want to know what my thoughts are on the market, a week from now, a month from now, or you just want an opinion on something that you're getting ready to buy, feel free to reach out to me at julie@SeattleInvestorsClub.com. And if for some reason I don't answer you right away, you can send me a text, 206-910 2985 because I get busy, but you guys are welcome to contact me as much as you want, as long as that's not 10 times a day. Deal. Okay.
Deal.
Right on. So here's what I am saying about the current market. What's happened, in my opinion, is that we have, for the last several years, the market, total sellers market, as we all know, multiple offers, big escalations, almost predictable in some ways if you do enough deals, right? And I think what's going on right now is, we've had definitely the pricing has capped out. I believe that we have reached pretty much, this isn't, all or nothing, because there's going to be deals that get multiple offers and go way over a list. That could happen. But in general, the consensus is that prices have capped out. Okay, that's King, Snohomish, Pierce County. Pierce County is actually on fire right now. A lot of people are tired of the Seattle home prices, and I think people are buying a lot down in Tacoma. It's a pretty hot market down there right now. I know, because I'm working with several buyers, and people from Seattle who want to just move down there. So there's some of that going on, a little shift. Multiple offers maybe in Tacoma more likely at this point than in Seattle, in the Pierce County area. So what we've lost, friends, is the reliability and predictability of our market. So what comes with that? What does that mean? That means that things are sitting on the market longer right now. There's no confidence. It's hard. It's very hard. There's no crystal ball that I feel is reliable right now, even if you're in the best neighborhoods. I've just sold a super well priced, not high priced, regular homeowner as a broker property, actually a Seattle Investors Club lead that we converted to a listing instead of a wholesale deal, because we know how to make money off every lead, because we know how to provide options, which we'll talk about later. But I have talked to so many brokers in the Seattle and Finney Ridge neighborhoods lately, very, very recently, which is a very hot neighborhood. Homes are priced well, and they're getting one offer, guys. One offer. I think most of you who are doing deals on a regular basis have seen that the market has slowed down, and you're lucky to get maybe two offers. Maybe, earlier this year, I'd say in May, it had slowed down maybe to about, you're getting between 1 and 4 offers. I had a stellar flip for some of our Seattle Investor Club members out in the Maple Leaf neighborhood that I think we slid under the radar, and it was listed at, I think, $965. We got $1,055,000 with 4 offers. If that were to list today, it'd be a completely different ball game. So the market started changing, in my opinion, in about the middle of May. Nobody was paying close enough attention. Things were still getting done at escalations and maybe slowing down a little bit. But by the time June hit, guys, it was like, boom. Everything didn't stop, but multiple offers dried up. And what does that mean? That means that instead of getting, 4 offers or 5 offers or whatever on your deals, that the buyers have the buyer sentiment has changed. They are being much more selective. They have slowed down their pace. They're still out there and they're very qualified, but they're being much more selective. So, the multiple offer, how that usually happens is that the brokers list the properties for sale on, let's say, a Thursday or Wednesday or a Thursday, and they say, I'm going to review offers the following Tuesday, if any come in, at 5 p.m. Well, that has been the name of the game for years here in the Seattle area. And that essentially has dried up as very obviously by June of this year. That has changed. So if you're a broker out there and you're listening, my advice to you is to not use an offer review date. I don't care if you're in the best neighborhood, Ballard or, Finney or, Capitol Hill, wherever you're at. I would caution you from using an offer review date Or if you're going to do that, make a deal with your client that you guys are going to attempt it, but you have a plan in place to drop the price at a certain date. If you guys want to attempt the offer review date thing. What the problem is with offer review dates these days right now, guys, is that when buyers see a property listed that has an offer review date on it, they've been trained to think that means they're going to have to pay $50,000 over the list price or more. And they are done with that. They hear all the news out there, all the bumps with, all this Amazon talk and interest rates going up and, taxes, property taxes going up. All these things combined are making them nervous that they need to, maybe be more selective and take a pause. And maybe they're willing to pay full price for a properly priced home, but they aren't willing to escalate the price more than, let's say, I'll say maybe 20,000 max is my feeling. Okay. I think that right now you guys need to be setting your prices right on, right? And if not a little bit before, and have no expectations of selling over the list price, and, be happy with taking the first offer that you receive, as long as it's at list price. I think people are actually buyers are offering over the list price for homes that are priced well to begin with, that are listed at the right price. They know that they have an opportunity to go in and maybe grab that. So I think that you might still get offers $5,000 or $10,000 over the list price to start when there's no offer review date, because they know somebody could potentially come in behind them still. But that's what I think's going on. We've lost the reliability. That's the main message here. The reliability and the predictability of the market is sort of just floating out there in limbo. We are at a cyclical, seasonal slowdown here in the summer. Might even slow down here more as we get into August. That's sort of typical for our market. But aside from the slowdown that we might normally see seasonally, the big difference that's happened is on how brokers need to present the listings for sale. And that means how sellers, investors need to present their listings for sale. Now that has totally changed, in my opinion. So that is where we're at in the market. Still a great market. You might have to compete, like I said, more down in the Tacoma market. I think you're always going to be competing for purchasing investment properties. If you're buying off the MLS, there actually might be more opportunities for that right now, as more homes are actually coming onto the market. Also keep a close watch, because what I've noticed lately is hundreds of homes every week with price drops. So this is a good time to start thinking about, first of all, making sure you're set up on alerts if you're looking at the MLS at all. I think it's actually okay to start looking at the MLS, where maybe I would have said last year, the year before, don't bother. I actually think that it's time to start paying attention again, because there's going to be a pocket potentially where you can jump in there as things are starting to still adjust and shift around. I don't know if we're just having a little mini adjustment or if we're actually moving down a notch. It feels like we might move down a notch, but nothing crazy, right? But still, with investors, moving down a notch could be a $20,000 to $30,000 swing, honestly, and there goes your profit, okay, or a big portion of your profit. If I told you that you need to watch out for a $20,000 or $30,000 swing in your properties, or let's call it, a few percentage points or something like that, right? Would that make you stop and think about what you're doing on that property and what your plan is for your rehab, or what your exit strategy is, or how much you want to invest and all that stuff? I think, of course, it is. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today as we just keep rolling on here. Oops. Hey, you guys hear that? Listen to this. Side note, my daughter's changed the ringtone on my cell phone. This is what it sounds like. Yeah, that's
I
not
love
really
it.
funny when you're.
I'd like to have my ringtone tone like that. You think they could send me one?
Well, just leave your phone laying around my house, Joe, and I'm sure you're going to get a surprise the next time you take off. That's the kind of stuff that happens over here. One of my other friends who's like an investment advisor, sorry guys, we're getting side note here. Addison somehow changed the name of his email, I don't know what she did, but his email as an investment advisor was like sending out to people for a while, and it said something like the nutty squirrel. I mean, like a total weird, like, pedophile. Weird, you know what I mean? And it took him like a minute to catch it. Oh, Jesus, So,
awesome.
anyways, we keep it exciting around here, guys. So that was Addison singing on my cell phone as my ringer there, but. By the way, Buddy's not here. For all of you that love Buddy and know that he's our sidekick on the nuts and bolts of real estate investing, I'll just little tip for you. He's off getting his hair cut today. So he's camera ready. He's at the salon and he will be back next week. So shout out to our brother Buddy. We love you, man. All right. Let's see. What else can we talk about here? Let's see. No multiple offers. Offer review dates we've talked about to scale back on those. Let's talk about something else. And that's the presentation first we'll talk about the presentation of the offers or of the listings. We're talking about the back end, okay? You guys as investors, you're always going to continue to find your wholesale deals. You're going to continue to find the deals to buy, okay? What we're really focusing on here today is not an issue finding wholesale deals. That's been challenging for the last quite a while, right? That actually might ease up. It might actually be easier. Like I said, you might want to start looking at the MLS. You might want to check in with you might want to check in with the auction groups because there is some shadow inventory. We have some where we also invest out in the Las Vegas area, and our partner down there is telling us that he is getting more and more REO properties because he also does REO work. He's a broker investor like me. And he said those are starting to come on more and more. There's been a release of some inventory there. So check back in with your auction groups on maybe possibilities of deals flowing through there. Of course, you're going to stay in touch with your wholesalers and so forth. But what really needs to happen is you guys need to understand your ARV and your back end and how that dictates what you can pay for properties, right? So if you're going to have to be more conservative on your back end, that means you're going to have to be more conservative on your front end. Don't take any risks. Don't buy any properties that have variables because there might be more inventory coming out here in the future. Things are going to be sitting on the market longer. And already we know that buyers are being more selective about what they're buying. They're willing to wait. So you do not want to catch yourself buying properties that have variables at this point, in my opinion. Okay. And what does that mean? Unless you have a plan B and plan C exit plan for those properties, maybe you can keep it as a rental. Sure. Buy it. Maybe you can lease option it. Sure. Go for it. But make sure you should always have multiple exit strategies, but especially now you want to make sure you understand what those multiple exit strategies are. Understand what your financing options are on the way out so you can get out of your hard money loans if needed. Don't overlook that, guys. So we're talking about how listings, and you guys need to know this, even if you're just an investor and you don't have a real estate license, you need to know this because it affects your purchase. And you also need to know this because it affects who you might want to work with on the back end on your deals, right? There's a lot of people out there that are paying as little as possible to their broker relationships, or they're paying a flat fee, or they're doing it themselves, maybe for sale by owner, MLS for owners. Don't do that, guys, right now. I would not do that rolling until we know where things are landing. You're going to need experienced team in place to navigate through any bumps, right? And somebody that has had experience dealing with sales that are not just straight over tackle, throw it on the market and it sells in the weekend. Okay, you need to start thinking about that. Don't use your brother who is got his real estate license. I'd be cautious about that sort of stuff at this moment. Might need more skilled team on the back end. So the presentation of listings is different these days. We already talked about not using an offer review date. I know some people out there are like, well, I saw things close recently and they closed and they sold over the market and they had an offer review date. Well, let me tell you what, go back and look and see when that property originally listed for sale. I would say up through the first week of June, okay, that those properties, there's a lot still that maybe had offer review dates, and they may be selling over the list price, okay? But those are, again, I want to point it out to you guys, recent sales that have recorded as sold were probably listed the first week of June, right about right now, okay? So when you're looking and reviewing your comps, your sold comps, one of the things you need to add to your list is when it listed for sale originally and when it went pending originally. If it went pending, the first week of June, and you're thinking of putting something on the market now in the same neighborhood, it literally could be completely different, okay? Completely different. I realize that was within a 3-month window, but I am telling you guys that it is not the same market as it was the first week of June or the end of May. So when you're listing stuff now, you need to be cautious, even though it wasn't that long ago. Trust me on this. One of the risks that you have if you don't pay attention to this is that new listings, the general brokerage community is now fully aware of the adjustment. Okay. And we don't know. Some brokers are able to, brokers, they just want to get paid, right? And they will do whatever they can to keep the price down to make their sale easier and go through. So you're going to find potentially that you're going to have listings. You're ready to list your flip. Okay. Well, we're running the risk, even if you price it appropriately 100%, you're running the risk right now of the unreliability, the non-predictability of our market, that some other broker at Windermere or wherever else is going to have a listing that comes on, within the same neighborhood area as yours, lower than you would expect because they're nervous and they want to get it done and, make themselves look good. And therefore what that means is as soon as you list your property, you run the risk of other properties around you coming on the market at a lower price. That means that you might have to sit there and wait till that property sells or goes pending, not pending inspection. People don't really share information when a property is just pending inspection, but they do when it's pending if you ask the right way, okay? You might have to wait till that property goes pending in order to get back and have that information to share with buyers and brokers of your own listing that you listed at the correct price. So that just, in a nutshell, means you might have to wait because you can't predict what people are going to list stuff at around you, okay? So I say my vote is for no offer review dates. Another thing is, for the last several years, I'm a big fan of prehabs. That means like clean it up and have fun trying to do as little as possible to put the home back on the market, spend as little as possible, do as little as possible, as long as it's financeable. Or maybe in some cases, it's going to be, you can predict that it was going to be a cash offer and you're not as worried about if it's financeable or not. And you can roll the dice and just throw it on and see what happens. That also, I'm saying, in my humble opinion, has changed. The presentation of the listings right now needs to be super tight with all the information. That means, when I say all the information, that means that you need to provide, you might want to consider providing a sewer scope. You might want to, if you don't want to provide a inspection that you've done, right before you list, a seller provided inspection, it means that you definitely probably want to inspect yourself. You don't necessarily need to share that inspection, and just take care of any issues. The properties that are selling right now are well priced or listed maybe within $5,000 or something like that, $7,500 of full price. Okay, a little bit conservative and clean as a whistle. And when I mean clean as a whistle, I mean, yes, spotlessly clean, doesn't have to necessarily be cosmetically upgraded or whatever your situation is, but it means with all the attachments, the listing attachments there. What did you do to the property for the upgrades? A list of that. Give them a sewer scope. Okay. Give them a property inspection. And if you don't want, or inspect yourself and take care of all the problems. Service the furnace. Clean off the roof. You still don't have to do a roof replacement. Okay. There's a little bright light. Again, we're still in a great market. If the roof's not leaking, just clean it off. If you need a guy to get up there and brush off the roof, you give me a call. I can maybe find somebody to help you do that. But, you don't have to have perfection, but you have to have it just in a bow, nice and tidy. That's different than it was even 4, 5, 6 months ago, where you could be loosey-goosey about it and you're going to get an offer. That's changed, okay? Don't rely on that anymore. That also means if you're doing a flip, a lot of investors don't, I think that they maybe don't like to do a sewer scope because, they're rolling the dice that somebody's going to buy it anyways, or somebody's going to pre-inspect. When you take away the offer review date, you can now count on, I think your offer for the most part is going to have an inspection. Okay. People don't want to take the time to pre-inspect. Even if you have a pre-inspection agreement available to them, they think if they take the time to pre-inspect and it's something that's newly on the market, that they're going to lose their opportunity, that they need to strike very quickly. They're willing to strike quickly, but you should expect you're going to have an inspection contingency in your offer, okay? Just because there's no offer review date. So again, you either offer up your own inspection or you don't. But my recommendation is that you yourself inspect your property, because people have choices. There's more stuff coming on the market all the time. If you have a crappy inspection happen, there's a good chance that there's going to be another opportunity that comes up that they like better, and they might bounce on you, right? We just want to get it done at a price that we're happy with and call it a day. Okay? So that means tight landscaping, no loose ends. Service the furnace, your paint, everything's good, guys. A lot of investors tend to get in a hurry, okay? Oftentimes they list for sale when things aren't 100% complete, or there's little knickknacks here and there that need to get done. This is a time where I would think about not doing that and really being 100% done. It's always a good idea to be 100% done, but is now even a better idea to be 100% clean and presentable, okay? That is how things have changed. You're going to expect inspections if you're not going to use an offer review date, which we're telling you probably don't want to do. And you need to not have any loose ends, guys. And that's my recommendation to you. What else can we say? Oh, I'll just give you a little tidbit, little side note. Matthew Gardner is an economist that I think it's Windermere's economist. Very well-respected guy. If you don't know who Matthew Gardner is, look him up. He's very knowledgeable and reliable, I think, and a lot of people listen to him in regards to what's going on with the local market. And I just heard him say the other day, a 1% increase in interest rates equates to a 10% loss of buying power. Okay, so we are in a rising interest rate environment right now, and I think I just saw something on the news even that said the Fed said to keep pushing rates up. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that that's going to affect the ability of what buyers can afford. Is that gonna affect you guys? I don't know. Maybe it means that people that were gonna buy stuff for $700 are now buying stuff for $650, right? Just something to keep aware of. Make sure that you think about that and that you are thoughtful when you go to price your properties. Again, I'm not doom and gloom here. The market is still great. Properties are still selling very quickly. They're just not selling with multiple offers. And unless you're tied up tight in a bow, you might sit for a minute. And we know as investors, we don't like to sit, not for a minute. My recommendation is that you price conservatively, and you have a better chance then of getting those one or two offers, again, over your list price, right? I think people, like I said, will pay $10,000 to $15,000 over the list price still. I think they'll automatically pay over the list price if they think they have an opportunity with no offer review date. Not a lot over, but a little bit over. So if you price yourself 10 grand under where we think that should be, I think you're still going to end up just fine. That's as of today, right? What else? So presenting the offers differently. Now let's we also talked about what needs to happen on the properties. No loosey-goosey, everything tight as a button. That means if you have an oil tank, make sure, as you always should, have the decommission paperwork done. Don't have it coming later or have it come as part of an inspection. Don't leave loose ends is the point there. Now let's talk about maybe some potential issues as investors we might want to think about, okay? To me, I kind of feel like taking on huge rehabs right now is something I kind of wouldn't want to do myself. Not only do you have a contractor issue happening right now, which will be interesting to see if what happens there. We'll be following up with you guys, and there's lots of groups out there that, Fixated on Real Estate is a good one. Those guys do a lot of rehabs out there. And our friend Tarl over there might be able to help us stay in tune with his contractor availabilities. I know everybody's been struggling with that for a long time. Who knows if that's changing? We still got a lot of new construction projects going on. And let me just clarify. I'm not talking about new construction so much today. My focus on what I'm covering today is more from the flip standpoint. There might be still a higher demand for new construction, partially because a lot of foreign investors really, really like new construction, and I think they're still in the market. So I'm going to put that aside as a side note today, that I'm more talking about general listings and flips and things like that, prehabs that get listed and stuff like that. Not talking about multifamily today on this topic. Obviously, everybody and their brother has come out of the woodwork wanting to buy multifamily deals. I think that there's going to be more people selling their property. A lot of landlords are selling, especially in the Seattle area, because they are so freaking tired of dealing with the city of Seattle on all their tenant-friendly rules and stuff like that. I get a pretty good flow of landlords wanting to sell their properties as they are getting up in age. They just want to be done with it. And they still need exchanges. They want to exchange. And therefore, I think multifamily properties are going to continue to be scarce and hard to pencil in our area here. So we're talking, again, not about that today. We're talking more about price adjustments and listing adjustments and ARV adjustments, which means purchase price adjustments for flips and prehabs and the standard stuff. So I think, in my opinion, this is just me sharing my opinion with you guys because I'm just one of you guys, that doing a blinged out total flip these days that's going to, be, it's easy. It's easy to spend $100,000 these days due to the lack of contractors and the increase in price of construction materials and labor costs, especially. It's easy to drop $100,000 on just a full flip, right? Doing like studs out remodels and stuff like that today, man, the hold time involved and the fact that you're still paying top dollar for contractor prices and what's going to happen when you're ready, probably next year, I think is, crystal ball stuff that's hard to predict. Like I said, no reliability, no predictability. So I'd probably scale back from doing those until we feel like things have settled down and adjusted. What else am I going to say? I also think, guys, on a side note, that we're going to see more and more contingent offers. So that's something to think about. I think that buyers are starting to come out of the woodwork and not be so scared to make contingent offers, meaning they have to sell their home first instead of coming out of a rental or something. They have to sell their home in order to buy your home. Now, I think that's not necessarily a bad thing for investors, because when somebody's contingent, that means that, their offer is not as strong as others. It might give you the opportunity to hold your price up, right? It might give you the opportunity to have some leverage back if things continue to adjust down a little bit. So I wouldn't shy away from those. What that means is, guys, for your underwriting of your deals, instead of I think a lot of you probably were using 4 months because you have your systems down and you've got your crew. I think at a minimum, you need to be hold time of 6 months. If I were you guys, I would be bumping your hold time to be conservative more to 8 months, maybe even 9 months. What does it hurt to be conservative, right? Unfortunately, we're in an area of the market right now where seller expectations and buyer willingness, even for investors, there's going to be a period of disconnect. And I don't know how long that's going to last, but I think we're in it right now, where you're going to have to spend more time giving proof to sellers on why you can't pay as much for their property right now, or why you need to be more conservative, right? Because you're going to need to be talking to them about days on market. You're going to be showing them that there's no more offer review dates. You might have to, it's going to take a little bit more during this pocket period to work hard to keep the prices down. Or if you're somebody that's busy and needs to keep your crew going or something like that, you need to be happy that your spreads might come down, right? Until we kind of see where things land, right? Choices to make depending on whatever situation that you're in. But, also if you are going to be accepting a contingent offer on the home, if you end up having to do something like that, not saying you are, but something to keep in mind, make sure you're paying attention to that whole other home that's being sold, right? Where it is, what they're pricing it at, even setting some rules within that offer. Like if it doesn't sell in the, first 2 weeks, that they're required to drop the price by 10 grand, something like that to protect you. Because I don't think contingent offers necessarily have to be a bad thing for you. Might give you some leverage if you structure them properly. If you guys need help with that, again, that's where I say using an experienced broker, at least for the near short term, is going to be key, I think, to helping you navigate through maybe some of the bumps that we have until we land, and we can get our predictability and reliability back. Again, I'm available to you guys. On my broker email is Julie, Julie, at HomelinkSeattle.com, HOMELINK Seattle.com. If you are looking for a very experienced investor or a broker who understands investors, hit me up. I'll give you a deal. What else can we talk about? That's kind of it, guys. I just want to check in. It's not gloom and doom. It's a time for you. If you are sitting on projects and you currently have a project that's not going to be done for a few months, here's some big tips. It is time to check in. You need to take some time and look and see what's going on in your market with your comps that are out there now, if anything's changed. And that might make you decide to put down carpet instead of wood somewhere. It might make you change your sizzle features or scale things back. It's a good time to check in on that, right? Again, I'm not scaring you. Just check in, see what's up. If you guys need help, just give me a call. Be more conservative. Think about doing pre-inspections on your own properties. And a lot of investors that I know are super successful. They always pre-inspect their own properties and take care of any repairs, right? We're not of the mindset to see what we can get away with. This isn't a see what we can get away with environment, is what I'm basically saying. Plan on only getting your list price and be happy with it. Plan also on realizing that as more things come onto the market that are non-investor properties that might compete with yours, just regular old homeowners listing their properties with regular old brokers, that you might get undercut in your list price. And there's, the predictability of that is gone. I see it happening all the time right now. I've had properties come on myself and I'm like, crap, why did they list it at that? Now I'm going to have to wait because I know it's still a solid property and that it's going to sell over that price. And now I'm just going to have to wait it out until I can gather the information. I'm not going to do a price drop on the property I've listed, but now I have to wait to be able to get the information to share with buyers that are coming in. Time to do some forward thinking. I think, in my opinion, that buyers are getting tired of wanting to pay for blinged out properties right now because they feel and they're being told that we're at the top of the market. And they don't necessarily want to pay top dollar price. Now, in my opinion, actually buyers are more likely to pay top dollar for a property that has some sweat equity left in it. If there's a way for you to clean up the properties and maybe make them all nice, we'll say an advanced prehab, a blinged out prehab instead of a blinged out full rehab. I'm gonna do some number crunching on all that sort of thing, and see if it makes any sense to do a kind of a high-end prehab, and maybe what can you save on? I think the buyers are liking to come in and be able to pay full price for a house that they can add some value to themselves, rather than pay for some totally stellar, blinged out big flip. That's just my opinion. I think something for you guys to think about, shifting the type of rehabs that you're doing, and first looking to see that, hey, look, if I do a full paint job and maybe I do or do not put in all new windows, right? Or maybe I just place some of the worst windows. Can I get away with this? Do carpet, do paint, do new countertops. Maybe don't do a kitchen. Maybe don't open that wall, right? If it shows well and has a nice yard. Things to start thinking about, guys, as you roll through and buy your properties. If you can't buy the properties at wholesale prices that you want right now because you're in full flip mode, I challenge you, and I'm there for you, and I'll come look at the properties with you, and I'll give you my opinion. Again, it's time to start thinking about that kind of stuff. Buyers, in my opinion, are still willing to pay for that more than they're willing to pay for a super blinged out, top of the market priced, no upside home. Again, just sharing opinions. I'm just a little girl over here hanging out with my buddy Joe. We're lifting some weights. We're walking the dog. We're eating some JoJo's, Oreos. Yeah. Well, those are the Trader Joe's versions. Made me feel healthier.
Okay.
But, let's talk about it. Let's continue the conversation. We want to hear your feedback too from you guys on what your experiences are. I can tell you all my friends that are the busiest rehabbers in town, are agreeing with me on no more offer review dates and scaling things back a little bit. With the challenge that everybody has, and I don't have the answer right now, I'm going to be talking to my friends about this and sharing it with you guys, is how do you balance the fact that you don't want to lose your contractors? If you've been keeping deals pretty busy, I'm not saying, you got to find the right balance, but you guys need to, wake up, pull your head out of the sand for a minute, realize that, yes, things have changed. Admit it to yourself and have a full check-in on everything you're working on, and see if the price that you were planning on to get for your property came down by 20 grand, let's just say, what changes would you make to your current project? Okay? Do that. Do that now. Do that now. I think, again, choosing your properties to be in the best locations is important. I think that buying properties down in Kent and Auburn and South King and, these places, a little bit more risky, unless you're getting a stellar deal or you have a bunch of tools in your toolbox, like you're a real estate agent or a contractor and you have some savings. I think that there's going to be more days on the market, more properties available. Spreads are smaller down there maybe. And you need to be cautious, right? Or have your plan B and C in place for sure. One other tip I'll have for you guys, especially if you're just getting started, which is actually this tip, if you're just getting started, is the same tip I'd give you whether we're having a market shift or not. I think it's important if you are newer or you've done a deal or two to partner up, okay? Don't take risk 100% on yourself, especially on your first deal, second deal. Don't do it. Now's not a great time to do that unless you feel like you're listening to what I'm saying. You've got maybe 20 grand of room in your deal and another 20 grand for the mistakes that you're going to make, right? And that you're not going to lose a bunch of money, or you're happy to just be educated and make nothing, then go for it, because being educated and make nothing is actually worth a lot. It's a bit risky business, but how do you offset that? Partner up with somebody that has an opposite skill set. What do you bring to the table? Do you bring money? Do you bring hustle? Do you bring a real estate license? Do you bring contractor skills? What do you bring to the table to contribute to somebody else? I'm not talking about joining companies. I'm talking about just on one deal. And really think about that, what you can offer, and go find somebody that has the opposite skill set as you. You're a contractor, go find a real estate agent. You guys are a great combo to work with, right? You have two sets of savings there. You have some money. Go offer up your money to an experienced contractor and ride along with them and learn at this point. They're still buying, guarantee you. Everybody's still buying. You just have to be able to have enough skill at this point to adjust if you have to. Don't skid by. Don't take any risks. Okay, that's my tip. Another thing that you should do is, you're in the real estate business, right? Well, somebody on your team, and if you're a one-man show, is you should get your real estate license. Think about it, guys. I have been preaching this for a long time, and I'm going to continue to preach it. And I'm actually going to preach it more, and I'm going to preach it louder, and I'm going to preach it and tie it up in a box and give it to you in a nice, with a bow on top, working on something for you guys. But hey, look, what's better if you're a business owner, right? And you need to buy inventory for your business, in our case, real estate, right? And somebody offered you a discount card. Joe, you know where I'm going with this?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Somebody offered you a discount card to buy your inventory at a discount, right? Why would you say no? That's what having a real estate license does, right? If you needed inventory and your inventory was available, let's say somewhere like Costco, right? Where you have to have a membership in order to be able to buy that inventory, and they're getting all kinds of good inventory over there. Let me ask you, would you call up one of your friends or neighbors or relatives and say, hey, my business needs this inventory. There's a bunch of great inventory at Costco. Can you go and buy it for me using your discount card? Or wouldn't you just go get a membership to that club so you can go get at that inventory yourself? I'm talking about the MLS. More and more properties are listing that are going to be good deals and available for investors. It's a great time to get your license, to be prepared as more homes are going to be coming on the market, so you don't have to ask anybody else to go get it for you or pay them to get it for you or make those offers when they're available. You guys get the point, okay? Not only that, okay, think of a real estate license as an insurance policy. As a business owner, would you start your business and run your business without having any insurance? Without maybe having the most affordable insurance that's available to you? That's called a real estate license, right? Now you can list your own properties. You can, as long as your broker is okay with that, right? Or you can pay somebody in your office a nominal fee to list it for you. And you can have some savings, 3% savings. That could be, that could be $15,000. That could be $20,000, which is what I just said. Expect a $20,000 potential adjustment by the time you're done with your rehab. You want to get that money back? Get a real estate license. Hey, sorry to preach it, but I'm going to continue to do it till you guys wise up. And we can talk about the myths and all that kind of stuff on why people think they shouldn't get one. But, I'm gonna hang it up right there. I won't talk about it anymore today, but you guys know how I feel about that. What else is it a great time for? We said it's a great time for getting your real estate license. It is a great time to do a buttload of Joe's favorite thing on the planet besides lifting weights, and that is marketing. It is a great time to kick ass and get your marketing done, guys. It is because there is some bumpiness, uncertainty in our world, in our market, raising interest rates, BS landlord-tenant crap, all kinds of stuff going on that you guys don't want to start doing that marketing when the word's out to all these sellers who are right now in their adjustment phase, right? They don't quite know it yet. But if things keep going this way, all right, and we keep having a little adjustment down, not a big, massive downturn, but, sellers who figured out they missed the peak of the market, that's enough to give them a reason to sell, okay? Property taxes are continuing to go up. That's enough reason to give them a reason to sell, right? There are lots of reasons that they're going to be slapped in the face with here pretty soon that might give them the reason to sell. You do not want to be late to the party, peeps. So get on your marketing right now. I'm talking about direct mail. I'm talking about door knocking. I'm talking about whatever. Just go for it. It's a very good time to start filling your pipeline. It's also, if you haven't been doing it, a very good time to follow up with everybody that has been in your pipeline, everyone you've talked to. If you talked to somebody 2 years ago and they told you to piss off, F off, and don't call them, they're not going to sell. You know what? I don't delete those because it could be coming a time, maybe not, right? Hit the ones that didn't tell you to F off first, but don't forget, the ones that said, I'm not interested in selling, those are still might be good leads in the future. So anybody you haven't talked to for 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years that you called, shame on you if you didn't keep track, okay? Saying shame on you if you didn't keep track. You guys need to have a system to keep track. We have probably at least 5,000 leads in our system. I don't care what the status of those are. I have their contact information, right? I have their contact information. Guess who's going to win? We are, okay? So keep track of your leads. Do a lot of marketing. It might be a year from now that that things change enough that it kickstarts even more people to sell, right? There's a lot of people that were on modified loans, right? That those people, maybe their stuff's going to be adjusting on variable loans. Those people are going to sell. Just do your marketing, get on it, and we're talking about preparing for the future. We don't know where things are going to land. Maybe this is just a little blip. Okay. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think it'll be bumpy here at least until the end of August, part of September. We'll see if things, get more brisk and sales pick up and maybe less days on market as we roll into the fall. But I think a real test will be what happens in like February and March of 2019, because January or February through about May is typically when people get the highest price for their home and things like that. So that'll be a big check-in moment. But between now and then, check in with yourselves, check in on your deals, check in on your business model, and think about adjusting if you had a $20,000 swing that is uncontrollable and unpredictable. Okay? Think about getting your real estate license for access to great deals that are going to be coming on the market, more inventory coming on the market. Check back in with your auction groups and see what's up. If they're experiencing any new inventory, start working with experienced brokers only. Consider that. I'm here for you. And kick some marketing out the door. All good stuff. Over and out. Okay. I guess my JoJo's worked. I got all beefed up and energized. maybe beefed up isn't the right word, but that's all I got today, guys. I feel like I talked nonstop for however long that was. So thanks for letting me get it all out of my system. It's very cathartic and all that stuff. It's a good reminder for Joe and I to follow our own advice. But again, it's just my opinion as one of the crowd hanging out with you guys. So hopefully you've enjoyed the show today. Joe, where can they find the show notes? Since I talked nonstop for however long, they probably either fell asleep or might need a replay.
I don't know, Julie. I think that they might want to listen again and then go read the show notes as well because they liked it so much. That's what I'm thinking.
Right on.
But they can find those show notes at seattleinvestorsclub.com/41. That's seattleinvestorsclub.com/41. And as always, we love ratings and reviews on iTunes, which you can find at seattleinvestorsclub.com/iTunes. We actually had someone give us a 5-star review last week. So high five, Julie.
High five. Right on. We love you.
We love you. We have no idea who you were. If you give us a rating and review, send us an email or drop us a note on one of the show notes pages. We would love to give you a high five as well.
Right on, guys. We love you. We're here for you. We're going to stick together. This is all good news. Market shift is good for investors. But for investors who are holding a bunch of deals or big rehab projects right now, could be a bump. Maybe not. Maybe just check it in and we'll see. We want to hear from you guys. Tell us your experiences. We can't wait to hear back from you guys. Can they write that kind of stuff on the reviews?
They could write some stuff on the reviews, although we don't usually get to, we can see it. It doesn't really notify us though. I have to go in and check it. So if you
how much space is there on there for them to write stuff?
I don't know. I've never capped it out. I've written a few paragraphs before myself.
Ooh, challenge. Somebody go tell us their experience on our show notes so we can test if it's like Twitter and we have 40. Then we'll make up a bunch of fun buzzwords that we'll share with you guys to use, right? Short little words that we can use to talk to each other in code, right on that'd be kind of fun, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Make up a code, secret code.
Secret code. All right, guys, over and out.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to the Seattle Investors Club podcast. If you have questions that you'd like to have answered on the show, shoot us an email at info@seattleinvestorsclub.com. Now go out, take that action, and build that real estate business. Thanks for listening.